Look to our precious Jesus today, who saves, heals, delivers, and blesses. This is your day for a miracle.
My friend Dr. Craichy is here. He's helped a lot of wonderful people. And today on the program, you will be blessed. One person you've helped is my friend Reinhard Bonnke.
Well, he's
and others. I am really thankful. This wonderful man deals with nutrition. And it all started when his wife got very ill. And he decided to do his own research and helped his wife come back to health. And today, a lot of people are being helped by you.
My wife has not had a drug in 20 years.
Tell the people one more time what happened to her.
My wife was Miss Florida and Miss Florida USA. When I met her, she was Miss Florida. She went to Miss America, won a town award. She came back, she went to Miss Florida USA and won that, and then went to Miss USA and won third runner-up and first in swimsuit. Now, I tell you this because she's a beautiful woman. And we were married for 3 years, had one child, and she was just as beautiful at that point. And all of a sudden, this fearless person that would get in a car and drive to New York or get on a plane and fly to the Middle East to do a concert, she was fearless, and one day, out of nowhere, she became overwhelmed with fear, clinical depression, even suicidal thoughts. This perfect woman, this dream girl of mine who it was everything I ever imagined a wife could be and more, now is helpless.
What caused it?
What caused it is that she was so depleted in all the areas of the 7 keys, which we've talked about before.
Well, I want you to mention that again because he's going to talk to you about 7 things you need to have. One more time, the 7 keys before we go on.
So first of all, we took Monica to the doctor, and they gave her Xanax and Zoloft and psychotherapy, and it was really wigging her out. And we had just gotten into the Word. She'd probably been in the Word a short period of time by then, and she would have me read the Word to her, and she said like a honey came down over her head.
Okay, but again, one quick, what she was lacking?
She was hydration, nutrition, exercise, stress, sleep, environmental hazards, and meditation and prayer. So
these things cause what?
They cause every disease you can imagine, from heart disease, kidney disease, complications from osteoporosis, mental health problems, panic, and so on.
Repeat them one more time, slower.
Okay. Heart disease, kidney disease, cancer, mental health, mental disorders.
No. Go back.
Oh, the keys. I'm sorry.
The keys,
okay,
yeah.
so hydration. Okay, so water.
Wait.
We're 75%
If you're not
water.
drinking enough water.
75% water. If you're not getting water, then you don't have blood flow. You don't have the things that your body is made of, cellular function.
So we need water.
Water, but not things instead of water. And what kind of water? So in the book I talk about, do you want distilled water? No, because it's reverse polarity, and it doesn't have any minerals in it. And then do you want tap water? No, it has all kinds of chemicals in it. What kind of chemicals? Well, it has Prozac and all kinds of pharmaceuticals because we don't know how to filter that out of the public water systems. Because people are flushing it down the public water systems. It's in and in the aquifers, and people are now getting pharmaceutical chemicals and drugs and personal care chemicals into their water supply. And so when you drink tap water, it has chlorine and fluoride.
What's the best water?
Well, spring water would be best. Okay, spring water that you get that came from an aquifer that's deep, like Fiji water that you drink, or even Zephyr Hills.
But some of that stuff could be expensive.
It is expensive. So
what if someone can't afford that?
If you can't afford it, then you get your some kind of filter, like Brita or something down at the store, and filter your water and get 98% of the stuff. Don't drink straight tap water unless you have to. And I go into the details in here. I go into the different types of filters, the cheap filters, the good filters.
So if we lack water, it will cause sickness. What else?
Nutrition. Hydration and nutrition.
Nutrition,
okay. We know, listen, it's not just that we're eating the wrong things. We are eating the wrong things. We're not even, but even when we eat the right things, we don't know what the right things are. Okay, so sugar. In 1905, the average sugar intake in the United States of America was 5 pounds a year estimated on the average. So every person, 5 pounds of sugar per person per year on the average. Do you know what it is now? 150 plus pounds a year per person on the average, and somebody's eating our sugar.
Goodness.
So when people wonder about what is a root cause of disease in the United States, well, sugar is the root cause of cancer, of course. It's the fuel of cancer. It's the root cause of obesity, which leads to snoring and apnea, which leads to congestive heart failure, and so on. So when you think about sugar, so many things. Also, it corrodes the brain. We talk about mental disorders. People with a lot of sugar all the time, even if it's sugars or if it's sweet drinks or juices or cereal in the morning, these things collect up and they really burn out our pathways in our brain. Over time, people, particularly if they have a family history of dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that, sugar will complicate that matter and literally glycate the brain so that the pathways don't work as well.
I just read something real quickly. I just read something where it said that most people that believe they're going to get sick because mom and dad had the same problem actually get it because of their belief.
Well, that's absolutely true, because we have a thing in science called the placebo effect, because they give somebody a blank pill, a sugar pill, and they tell them it's going to do this, and it actually works for a while, and there's an effect associated with placebo.
So it's not just what you eat and so on, precious saints. It's also what you believe. You have to start believing that God wants you healthy.
Absolutely.
Okay, number 3.
Well, I want to say that thing about the placebo effect.
No,
that
please, go
people
ahead.
eating, that believing it. See, it's not really the genetic predisposition that causes the problem. So you can have a genetic predisposition to diabetes, and people say, "I'm going to get it because mom had it, and grandma had it, and so on." The truth is, your genetic predisposition is really only 5% of the reality of the occurrence of the diabetes to start with, or any other disease. 5% usually. So that means that diet and lifestyle make up the other 90 to 95% of the probability of someone getting a problem. See, it's not that you inherited the genetics, you inherited mama's cookbook. And that is the problem in the nutrition side. So nutrition, there's a lot of things we can go to in nutrition, but we'll skip on over to exercise.
That's the third one, yeah.
The third one. So if you don't exercise,
if we're lacking that,
we know that exercise increases testosterone levels, it reduces body fat levels, it increases, it enhances sleep. I mean, literally, if you go down the list, it's like the fountain of youth already, just in exercise alone, and everybody knows they should do it. In fact, we even know now that if you sit more than an hour a day, your all-cause mortality goes up dramatically. In other words, if you just sit at a desk, sit at a computer, sit in a plane, sit in a car, all the time, you don't walk once an hour, that your chance of dying from every reason goes up dramatically. So this is not just about exercise. Wow. It's about moving. It's about getting up. It's about letting your circulation happen. Get off of your bed or your chair and move. I mean, a lot of us want to stay in our chair for hours to do stuff, but you have to discipline yourself, even if you stand up and walk around the desk a couple times.
Even if, when you go shopping, put your car somewhere a little farther out so you can walk a little more.
That's right.
I mean, it's just that
simple. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. And
yeah, simple stuff.
So these exercise things will extend your life. We know that. Okay, so you must exercise. If you don't, it's like if you're sedentary, your chance of dying from all-cause mortality goes up dramatically.
Now you said on the program yesterday that most of us lack in 4 areas.
In nutrition?
Right? Well, no,
exercise.
in those 7 keys.
Oh, yeah, 4 of 7.
Health.
So of the 7 we mentioned, right now, most of these viewers are lacking at least 4, if not more, of those.
Okay,
7.
finish them now.
Okay.
The water, nutrition, exercise.
Stress.
Stress can cause, yeah, well, we all know that. Stress can cause sickness.
Stress, now we're finding, not only can cause sickness, most likely is the root cause of most sickness. Now, we elevated that. So what does stress do?
Explain stress.
Stress is like like if you scratch your fingernails on a chalkboard all the time. Imagine the feeling that'd give you right here. If you just kept scratching your fingernails on the chalkboard.
Yeah.
That's what happens when we have relationship stress, financial stress, we have too much to accomplish, all the things that are going on, like a rat race that we live in our life. That puts that kind of stress on our body. Our body ends up producing things like cortisol, which breaks down the body. It's catabolistic in the body. And so every disease root is known. In fact, we know in medicine that in the literature is that people that are stressed die. They have sudden cardiac death, all kinds of things. Stress kills. There's no question about it. Now, stress also, we talk about how these things are interrelated. Hydration affects nutrition. Okay, exercise, whether you exercise, also affects nutrition. Okay, and if you have stress, it affects your sleep, and you can't sleep well. If you can't sleep well, it increases your stress. If you can't sleep well, it makes you eat things you shouldn't eat, like comfort eating and so on. So it's kind of like they all weave together here, and it's fascinating how rock solid this is in the literature.
Give me the 7 quick, and then
hydration, nutrition, exercise, stress, sleep, environmental hazards, and meditation and prayer.
Okay, let's cover the 5th one with the.
Okay, sleep.
Yeah, sleep.
Sleep is wartime torture, where they would keep people awake and pour water on their face.
I was talking to one young man who went to the military in the Marines, and they would actually keep him awake. They would train him to stay awake, and it began to affect him in every way.
it'll affect your entire life. It'll cause so many diseases that it's like a button to cause disease. If you don't sleep enough, your brain will shrink. If you sleep less than 6 hours a night, your chances of losing weight are dramatically impeded. It's very difficult to lose weight. It increases your stress levels in your body. Your cortisol levels go up dramatically. It messes up all your hormone production. It is really a big deal. It's an extraordinarily big deal. You must figure out how to sleep, and I write a lot about how to make it happen.
Number 6.
So number 6 is environmental hazards. That is, are you walking on carpets in hotels with bare feet and getting all the cleaning chemicals they put on the carpets? Are you using personal care products that have...
So it's amazing what comes through your feet, by the way.
You remember the thing a long time ago where you put your feet in the tub?
Oh man, that fixed me up.
And you taste the garlic in your mouth? Like
Yeah, I did. I read somewhere, I need to really explain this to our sweet partners. I had a terrible cold. And I read if you put your feet in garlic, it will get the cold, out of your system. And I was in Hong Kong, and I called and asked they bring me as much garlic as they had. They had they brought me 3 buckets full of, that's the funny part. They brought me 3 buckets full of garlic, and I poured them into the bathtub, and I put my feet in the tub. And that was, of course, minced garlic. And you could smell that garlic down the hallways. Within an hour or less, my cold was gone.
Yes.
It came through my skin, through my body. And of course, that night, when I was praying for the sick, they could all smell the garlic.
They all fell out.
Real big.
For wrong
And
reason.
we're making comments about it, like, my goodness, it's so, I said, well, that's me. But it actually did it. I was amazed.
Another fascinating thing. If you have someone has constipation and they put 3 cups of magnesium citrate or Epsom salts in a bucket, put water in it, warm water, not hot, put their feet in it, in about 30 minutes they won't be constipated anymore. It's that fascinating because magnesium is one of the issues there. So the body is an amazing thing.
They're even saying now if you put your feet in hot water, just hot water, you can lower your blood pressure.
Well, you talked about garlic. Today an article came out that garlic pills are actually one of the best antihypertensive medications out there. So garlic pills, not garlic.
I take garlic every day, by the way.
Oh, good. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So these are very valid, scientifically documented areas that matter to every person watching right now. And so having to understand, backing up to nutrition, understanding that you really need the 50+ essential nutrients in your body.
But just one more time. Repeat the 7 keys.
Hydration.
We need to drink water.
Nutrition.
Need to have the right food.
Exercise.
Need to walk.
Stress.
Need to stop that and go for a walk by a lake. Look and smell the roses. Look at creation. The best thing you can do to relieve stress is just go outside and look at something beautiful. And number 5.
Sleep.
Well, okay, now, but if they can't sleep, you've got stuff in your book that can show them what to get.
Yes.
Okay, which we will tell you about. Number 6.
Environmental hazards.
Yeah, which you just talked about.
Yep, and then meditation and prayer.
Hey, let's talk about the final one. How does that help?
Well,
I mean, I know it does, scientifically proven. What causes that to help you?
You know, it's interesting because the studies done on believers show that they live longer, their relationships stay together better, the ones that pray, and that they have lower stress, their sleep is better, and they live longer. So we think about these things, and the University of Duke, I think they were trying to disprove prayer, and they put 2 different groups of cardiac patients on a prayer list, and one group was prayed for, one wasn't, and they didn't tell either one of them, and the ones that were prayed for had 50% less side effects. Clinically significant by any measure. And so prayer is a legitimate, it's a reality. It's a real thing. It doesn't, one guy said, God said it, I believe it, that settles it. But the truth is, God said it, that settles it. It doesn't really matter if you believe it or not, because it is real. And you got to have it. Meditation, meditate on the word day and night, and pray. It's very, very important.
Yesterday, we were talking about a problem that I'm hearing about all the time now. A lot of people from the military are killing themselves in America. And I saw one report that said 1 every 2 hours. I don't even know if I really believe that, but that's quite a lot of dear people in trouble. Now, are you hearing the same?
Absolutely.
What's going on with that?
Well, it's really a magnification
and
of what we're
can
talking
we
about.
do to help somebody watching the program?
Well, magnification of what we're talking about right here is that their hydration is is limited. Like in the Middle East, they only give you a certain amount of water. They can't get enough hydration. Nutrition is these rations that are filler foods. They don't nutrify people. They just fill them so they're not hungry. And so there's a starvation that goes on.
But they come back, I mean, some of them really mentally troubled.
Big time trouble.
But how can food affect?
Because see, you are what you eat.
Really?
Now,
even mentally?
When I say mentally, your brain is 60% fat. So if somebody calls you a fathead, it's really true. But 60% fat, and of that, the docosahexaenoic acid, which is fish oil, is most of that. And so if you see that someone in the service or anywhere else is not having fish oil omega-3, then their brain is going away.
Okay, what
other kind of fat is being
Let's say
put there.
somebody's watching it right now who just came back from Iraq or Afghanistan, whatever. What would you tell them to do to correct their emotional problem?
Okay,
Look at the camera and talk to
the
them.
first thing that I want to tell you is that I have seen some of the worst cases become normal. So I want to encourage you that this is something you can do, and please make the effort to make it work. So hydration. I mean, for a while, if you drink alcohol and that sort of thing, stay away from it. Drink water, herbal teas, and even a organic coffee if you want to. But stay away from things with sweet drinks like sugar, juices, colas, all those sort of things. Now, this is important. This will get you back on track. This is one piece. 2, nutrition. You have to dial up the level of nutrients, like the super meal you can drink that we talk about, that we make. That is all 53 essential nutrients. You've got to get some way to just load yourself with all the essential vitamins and minerals and amino acids and fatty acids and antioxidants.
And they can reverse whatever is happening with
Yes,
them
because see,
emotionally.
what you're talking about here is just a wild example of where Monica was when we dealt with this. They are like extreme examples
the
of that.
reason I'm mentioning it is because I'm hearing it all the time now.
Yes, it's a big deal. But see, most of those guys will tell you they can't sleep. They can't sleep. Well, if you can't sleep, it's going to cause you to be stressed and not eat right and not drink right and not have meditation and prayer. So if you don't feel like it, you're not going to pray if you don't feel like it. So when you realize how magnified these things are in a situation where someone goes to war, now they see trauma, they're completely sleep deprived, they don't eat right, and they don't have the nutrients to put their body back together.
And a lot of the ones I'm talking to are Christian young people who've just come back from Iraq or Afghanistan or somewhere, and who have told me about the people they know and what happened to them also themselves. And I thought, we need to talk about this. We need to say, listen, there is a way out of this. Now, you're telling me and all of us it's nutritional.
Extreme nutrition and sleep and managing stress and getting the right nutrition and the right hydration. This sounds too simple. But the truth is, if you don't have omega-3 in your brain, you don't have a brain. You see, so if your brain isn't there, it's not going to work.
How much omega-3 do we need?
Well, I mean, it depends on whether you're eating sardines or not. A couple cans of sardines a day, but 2 grams of omega-3 a day of fish-derived omega-3s, because plant can't get you there. See, people talk about eating flaxseed, but when you eat flaxseed, it has to be converted through something called the delta-6 desaturase enzyme process. And so a gram of flax ends up being only 5 milligrams of EPA, of DHA. So it's such a diluted process. So a fish is an omega-3 factory. You can eat that same omega-3 that you're trying to eat from a plant and convert it to high levels in a fish. That's where you get fish oil.
Supplements are important then.
I don't think you can be healthy without them, particularly in a situation like you're talking about. These people coming back that are not taking omega-3, that's the first thing I put them on. I would make sure that they had melatonin or tryptophan or 5-hydroxytryptophan, something like that to help them sleep.
How about individuals who are watching us that have emotional trouble, period?
Well, unless you have looked at yourself.
Like your wife did.
Oh, if we look back at her on those 7 keys, and we said, Monica, how are you doing in nutrition or hydration? I was doing terrible. How are you doing in nutrition? I would eat a bologna sandwich or a macaroni and cheese or something for 3 meals a day. And how are you doing on exercise? None. How are you doing on stress? I was stressed to the max.
Look what we're doing. Many people are doing to their children. They're not giving them that either.
No, but if you look at the school lunch, the prison food is better than the school lunch. They're eating pizza. So these kids who need to thrive are not getting the nutrients that you require 50 plus essential nutrients to thrive. If you're not getting them, you're not thriving.
50.
50 plus. You splice them up. Vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids, antioxidants, phytonutrients. You need them. If you don't have them, you will have a physiologic consequence. So we're trying to send these kids to school on junk food. They eat junk food when they leave. They get junk food at school and expect them to get good grades and somehow come out with an education. I mean, it's a rampant problem. We must focus on giving people what they need in their mouth, because it will help them sleep better. It will help them have less stress. It will help them make better choices in their life. And they'll help you are what you eat. So you will eat something that you need to be and not something that you don't want to be.
We have a few more minutes, and I really would like you to talk about your book. But you were talking yesterday about the future of medicine and nutrition. Just hit that one more time before we talk about your book.
Medicine is going to go away from chemical cocktails and surgical experiments to more of a genetically guided stem cells from your own body, autologous stem cells. That means from your blood, from your fat cells, or from your stem cells, or from your bone marrow. And so when they reinsert, they spin them and they put them back in your body in certain places, restoration happens. It's amazing. Now, we don't know all there is to know about how to apply that yet, but where it's going is fascinating. And so when you got things like the flu shot is causing so much toxicity to people.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, because you're against that. You told us clearly yesterday.
Well, the CDC said it doesn't work.
Parents should not be giving their children any shots.
The Congress gave an exemption to the drug companies that they still use mercury in all of their
But there was a big deal a few weeks ago about that on the news.
The big deal was it did not work at all this year. Flu shot did not work. CDC will tell you it did not work. They picked wrong.
And measles. Now, you also said we shouldn't really do that either.
More people die choking on chewing gum than dying from measles. So, but let's talk about that.
Because a big deal about that too, all the measles shots, huh?
But what happens is, someone who gets a measles shot, they become a carrier for a period of time. And then people...
I had to talk to my daughters that they should do it with the kids because they are not. And all they said, well, Dr. Craichy told us not to. So why did you tell them not to?
Well, because like the measles, when someone gets a measles shot, they become infected, a non-symptomatic carrier of measles. And so they get their measles shot, and then they go to Disney World, and people that didn't have shots and people who did have shots get measles. And they said there's a measles outbreak because people are not getting immunizations. But the truth is, everyone who gets an immunization becomes a sick person carrying measles and giving it to other people. So the source of the measles outbreak was the measles shot itself. And the media is covering all over that, but that is the truth, and it can be validated. And so when you talk about measles, why in the world are we giving people shots for stuff that doesn't kill people? And you're giving them, loading them up with cell lines and all kinds of things that they really don't want to do.
Listen, we're almost out of time. Talk about your book, what's in it, and why should people get it?
It took me two and a half years to write this book, because it is the culmination of the things that I learned that saved my wife's life and was the result of the super meals that you can drink that we make at Living Fuel. It was a result of the books that all the books that I've published.
Explain Living Fuel, because some may not know what you mean. Living Fuel,
basically, if you had more calcium and vitamin D than milk, and more potassium than bananas, and more fiber than oatmeal, more protein than half a dozen egg whites, and more vitamin D than 10 servings of Arctic fish, and so on. If you put all this together and you put the dollar amount, it'd be about $100 a serving, and it would be about 6,000 calories.
But just quickly, you put that together.
I did, but see, ours is Living Fuel, and it's a whole meal superfood. And so you can just live on it. Like Michael's done the last 40 days of just Living Fuel and lost 13 pounds.
Keep talking about your book.
So the book is full of information that will help you. Every chapter could have been a book that you bought. The first one about hydration talks to you about what to drink, not just what you need to drink water, but what kind of water. Do I need tap water? Do I need spring water? Do I need reverse osmosis? Do I need what kind of water? Distilled water? What do I need? And I put in here the right kind of filters. If you don't have a lot of money, what kind of filters you should get to get most of it. If you do have more money, and the filters that you should get to get the most out of it that you can possibly get. So that's in here in the hydration section. In nutrition, I go about how you go about getting those 50 plus essential nutrients in your diet every day. Excellent. You must have that in order to thrive. If you don't have it, you're not thriving, not the best you could be. And then exercise, I talk about what the literature says about exercise. You have all these forms of exercise out there, and a lot of you do a lot of things. Some people walk a long way, some people do the treadmill endlessly, but the research suggests that high intensity interval training, that means that you'll run your heart rate up for 30 seconds, you'll rest until you can do it again, and you do it again for 6 to 10 times, which will take you maybe 20 minutes to accomplish, is much more effective than a 5-mile run every day. So it's extraordinary the different ways you can do it. You can do it swimming, you can do it biking, you can do it punching the heavy bag. You can, as long as you get your heart rate working for 30 seconds, it's max heart rate, and then you relax until you can do it again 6 times. I talk about how to do that in the various ways here. Also a system of isoflexion where you take your muscle, tighten it, and bend it while you're tightening it, and you'll see that is if you do this right now, you'll see that's an extraordinary workout. And I have 7 workouts, 7 exercises using that theory that you can do in your home and never go to the gym and get the results of if you were going to the gym and knew what you were doing. So that's pretty extraordinary on the exercise. On the stress portion, we talk about how to minimize your stress and how to do stress that's good for you, because if you don't have stress, you're dead because you need blood pressure. So stress is good to a certain level. It's the repetitive stress where you feel like you're scratching your fingers on a chalkboard all the time, that the feeling it gives you and the hormone production it gives you, that's what you want to avoid. You understand what kind of things you can take nutrient-wise to help minimize that, and also how you can relax more and run your life a little bit differently. Not a lot, but there's strategies in here on how to accomplish that. And then sleep. Sleep deprivation is a wartime torture.
You talk about all that in the book.
All that's in the book. All that and more.
Just finish about sleep.
So sleep, if you know how to process yourself before you go to bed and not get your face in the TV just before you go to bed, or the computers, and stimulate your brain where you actually don't sleep right or you don't sleep as much. And so if you sleep less than 6 hours a night, you're going to have all kinds of problems like shrinking brain.
And you show them how to what?
How to take the right stuff, how to create a sleep sanctuary in your house, how to take melatonin or tryptophan, 5-HTP, all kinds of things like that.
$35 to the ministry will send you this book right away, and we do have them, so please call the number on the screen or go online. Bless you. That was awesome.
Love you, brother.
Thank you again for your love and support. I'll see you again.
Dr. Richard Lippman, former nominee for the Nobel Prize in Medicine, describes K.C. Craichy's Super Health Diet as the most remarkable nutrition book of this century, a must-read for everyone who cares about their nutrition and preventative health. This comprehensive but easy-to-understand volume will guide you through the process of restoring and maintaining your health by providing details on the 7 keys to weight optimization, anti-aging benefits, issues specific to both men and women, stress management, childhood obesity, combating dementia, diabetes, and other diseases, recipes and meal plans, and much, much more. K.C. Craichy's Super Health Diet, with over 400 pages of information you and your family must have, can be yours today for a gift of $35. This dynamic, no-nonsense approach is for people of every age and every stage of health who want to supercharge their body, soul, and spirit. Call, write, or visit the ministry website today.
Pastor Benny Hinn sends regular teaching messages through the mail with rich material which will bless and empower your spiritual life.
Many of you are not on our mailing list, and you're missing a lot because we send out teachings in the mail in these brochures. Here's one on the anointing. Here's one on the 3 realms of prayer, beautifully done with pictures, and the teaching is all there. Very nice. Paul Crouch told me years ago, he said, I enjoy most your teachings that you send in the mail. How can you get them unless you're on the mailing list? So write me today, Post Office Box 16, 2000, Irving, Texas. A whole lot quicker to just call the number on the screen that's toll free, or go online.
Don't miss this opportunity to begin receiving Pastor Benny's regular teaching messages through the mail. Write, call, or request them online today.